doesn't seem to be a dull moment right now when you've got a chairman running for Congress. When what we had this last week was a chairman who, according to Inside Nova, was requesting the ability to comb through all email correspondence of former Chairman Milt Johns. And somehow he's spinning it off as a regular request that you make of the duties of your office. He wants the ability to sit down and go through all the emails. This is something that is completely unprecedented with anybody who knows about offices transitioning of elected officials. And it's so abnormal that it's taken him 14 months to realize that this is somehow crucial to the duties of his office. It's also so abnormal that he's not interested in anybody's emails besides Milt Johns' emails, as far as former school board chairs. There's the Virginia Coalition for Open Government stated that there is no law that they're aware of that would give somebody this kind of authority. It's an incredibly unprecedented move. And it's also been a very, it's been one where he's been able to show no legal basis for it as well. His lawyer's been engaging in Facebook debates on Ms. Satterwhite's page, trying to explain his position, and claims it is an implied right under the 9th and 10th Amendment, but can't provide a single legal case for where this stems from or when a court has recognized such a right. So there is nothing on his side. But sadly, as he moves forward, he's been targeting and attacking anyone who disagrees with him. Because people wouldn't go along with him, he's threatened the superintendent, he's threatened our own attorney, and it's been a very high level of bullying going after staff members. And at a time when we should be working as board members to change the culture and improve and really set an example to address the concerns of administrative bullying of people below, this is doing a very poor job of setting any kind of example for being leaders and stepping forward. The other fascinating part of this is that there is a repeated, well, as he laid out here, an explicit request in Inside Nova to be able to go through legal opinions that were given to the former chairman for the purpose of finding out legal opinions related to setting up the CIP and how different trailers are put different places and why the overcrowding has happened in different areas, et cetera. We've been through 2 budget cycles. We don't get legal opinions as we formulate our CIP. That's something we do with staff. So we know he wants legal opinions, but his excuse for why he wants past legal opinions rings very hollow. And none of this comes in a vacuum. So back in 2015, we all ran for elections. Through the elections, I got reports that I thought, they can't possibly be true. People were telling me that supposedly Mr. Sawyers was telling them at their doors that if he was elected, he was going to work to fire Mike Bishop, the principal of Patriot. Like, oh, that can't possibly be true. Nobody would do that. Well, after we got elected and before we were sworn in, we had conversations, and he made it very explicit that he wanted my support after we were sworn in to help him fire Mike Bishop. And he threatened me and pressured me that, well, the evidence against him is so overwhelming that if you don't go along with it, you're going to be made to look bad. And that kind of situation is the context for this year. There has been a situation of ongoing FOIAs from people on both sides of lawsuits that have now popped up and ongoing subpoenas for information. And what is going on here is a very aggressive way to try to bypass the regular FOIA and subpoena process. Now, sadly, as he's gotten stymied and realized that, oh, wait, staff wouldn't roll and give him this unprecedented information, now he's fallen back publicly, both on Facebook and in the press, to say that the reason that he wants this information is to address systemic racism throughout the county. Now, let's think about that for a second. if he wants to address systemic institutionalized racism around the county, what that means is that he believes the institutions in this school division are racists. The superintendent, those of you sitting here, the principals, the teachers, the people who work day in and day out to address and work with and do their darn best to make sure that everybody in this county gets a good education. And that kind of attack on staff and on our teachers is incredibly uncalled for. But sadly, that's where he falls back to in attacking our staff and our teachers to justify the kind of things he's pushing for right now. Now, if there are things that he thinks we should do better, then come forward with a policy. Bring it forward. Let's have a discussion on what to do. We're halfway in. We've been through 2 budget cycles. Work with community members. Work with staff. Let's formulate policies and let's address inequities. Let's figure out ways to improve things, improve opportunities for everyone. That's something that everyone here would like to see happen. And it's something that many people do work on a regular basis, day in and day out. And our staff do an incredible job on that. But the other thing that's very sad on that note as well is the way that race is used merely as a political tool. Because, as he states in the Inside Nova article, it's the racial inequities of just certain sides of the county. When you listen to his rhetoric, it's an ongoing view that if you're west of Hoadley Road, well, you got to be white. It's the people east of the county that have all the racial inequities. And it's an ongoing refusal to understand the incredible diversity all across the county. If you go to Stonewall Jackson High School, it is either the most or the second most diverse high school in the county. Nate Saltzman's sitting back there. He lives in townhomes right next to it. He knows. If you go to OP, you know how diverse OP is. You go to the areas around Mullins, Sinclair, Sudley Road. You go to Parkside Middle School, areas west of the county that are incredibly diverse. And we have to stop using race to pit people from one side of the county versus the other and refuse to recognize the incredible diversity across its entire county. So hopefully at some point, so then that gets us to where we are right now. Now we have the chairman's lawyer stating that he is writing to inform us that I will be filing suit in order to compel the production of the school board's property. So the chairman's right now planning a lawsuit against us. And then he went ahead and he's opposing the rest of us at the same time as he's also aggressively personally targeting our lawyer. And mind you, as Ms. Satterwhite already read this email, so I won't reread the whole thing. But the second paragraph makes it explicitly clear that the chairman has been sharing information between himself and our attorney directly with his personal attorney. So we don't have our own attorney that actually represents the board. He's been regularly, in his communications with our attorney, just relaying all that back to his own attorney. That's, and so now, due to his vote, we now sit in a position where we have no attorney to represent us as he files suit against us. And for him to vote to oppose us having representation while for a lawsuit he's bringing against us is an incredible conflict of interest. It's as blatant as it gets. So that's a very sad thing. We can't sit without representation, and we may very well be forced to have a very quick special meeting to make sure that we can get representation. The joys of having a congressman, congressional candidate sitting there. We've found it out at the BOCS level. We found it out here.
Thank you, Mr. Deutsch. Mr. Whoop.
I'm not